Good evening and welcome to round 4 of the Formula Regional Americas iRacing Invitational Championship. My name's John Phipp and I'm the spokesman for the series. I'm joined in the commentary box by Austin Knight. Hey, Austin.
Howdy, 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 John. It's great to be here in beautiful Alabama at Barber Motorsports Park. Lovely track, lovely cars. Let's go racing.
Marco Barbonara is the man responsible for the beautiful pictures that you're seeing. It's an 80-degree day down in Birmingham. 60% chance of rain, partly cloudy, about a 6-mile-an-hour wind. Track temperature is up over 106 degrees. And I can just feel the heat baking off of my computer screen here as we're getting ready. We're into the qualifying mode for this fourth round. Ben Waddell has set the early pace here. He's aboard car 29 this weekend, a 117.7. Zachary Rivard, another of our guest drivers in the 27 car, second quick. Jacob Abel, the first of the series regulars, currently in third position. That beautiful red number 2, a 118.03. Flynn Lazier, another of our guest drivers who's been running near the front every one of these races, is currently in the 4th spot. Blake Upton in 5th now, as we are just about 3 minutes into this 10-minute qualifying session. This is our largest field of cars to date. 46 cars on the entry list. We'll see if all 46 of them show up here this evening, but as of right now, we've had 33 cars turn times in this qualifying session.
And a lot more to turn as well, as I know a few of these guys are out there on track right now, but they're unfortunately going off track and are getting their laps invalidated. But currently 33 cars set right now, and a few special guests with us this round as well.
Yeah, indeed. We first want to give a shout out to Lance Fenderson, who is joining us for the first time. Lance, a 19-year-old driver from the Carolinas, and unfortunately suffered an accident in a lacrosse game a couple of years ago, and he is a paraplegic, but still driving from his specially designed sim. And Lance doing a great job. We ride along with him right now as he is working his way around this track. Currently, looks like 30th quick, about 10 seconds off the pace being set by Jacob Abel. Jackson Lee also joining us for the first time out of Avon, Indiana, an F1600 and SCCA Pro iRacing Fan League winner. He's a 17-year-old. Nelson Mason out of Niagara Falls, Ontario, also joining us for the first time. He was the 2013 Euro F3 Open competitor. I think he finished third in that championship. Darius Trinka out of Lithuania, also joining us this weekend for the first time. Nico Ronday is here. Nico, of course, a Barber Dodge IMSA and driving instructor stalwart. Nico's been around for a long, long time and is doing a lot of driver coaching, both for sims and otherwise. He's also a triathlete. And so Nico's a fitness guru, and he's joining us for the first time here tonight. And let's see, we have one more addition, shall we say, from our series regulars, and that's Jonathan Scarallo. Jonathan, a driver and team owner. The Group A racing team is Jonathan's purview, and he's joining us for the first time out of Smithtown, New York. Looks like Simon Sykes setting the pace early on. Go ahead, Austin.
There's a full-on grid here today as Simon is dominating at the top, 0.3 faster than Trinka right behind him, with Rivard close behind in third place. We're seeing most of these guys have a similar spot at VIR, but the difference between VIR and here, Barber is a much wider track compared to VIR, so you can get cars more side by side. So we aren't going to see that craziness that we did see on the first lap at VIR, and especially we can actually see them now because there is no fog.
Exactly. Riding with Simon Sykes aboard the number 6 car right now as he comes across the stripe. On board with Simon, as he is the pace setter, a 117.19, and he's about 0.3 of a second ahead of the Lithuanian Darius Trinka. He's in the 37 car. There's Darius. Now we ride on board with Ben Waddell. Ben was the winner of our first race at Road Atlanta. Dario Cangaliosi came back to take the win at Dakota. Last weekend, Philippe Dennis took the win. So we've had 3 different winners in 3 different races. Dakota Dickerson, the reigning champion of the Formula Regional Americas Series. Currently now atop the order. First driver in this session under a minute 17, a 1:16.95 for Dakota. Only 6 thousandths of a second clear of Simon Sykes. Linus Lindqvist now, another new driver joining us here this weekend. He's from Sweden, the 2018 British Racing Drivers Club Formula 3 champion. Linus going to be a full-time driver with us in the FR America Series for 2020. He's currently third quick. Dario Cangliosi, as we talked about, fourth quick.
Looks like he got contact. His back wheel for us is showing like it disconnected, but the iRacing damage gods decided to give it back to him. But that was very, very, very close.
Cangliosi in that orange number 23, currently slotted in 6th place in this qualifying session. Dakota Dickerson still atop the order, and still now he's joined in the sub 1:17 second club by Simon Sykes, as we're down to about a minute and a half remaining in this qualifying session, setting the grid for our 30-minute race coming up right after. Last week's winner, Philippe Dennis, riding along with him right now, as we've got a spinner there just off our screen. I think it might have been Jonathan Scarallo that looped it.
Scarallo was off at the chicane. It was another car. I believe they went into the pits right there. Ooh. This is a Lance going off in turn 1.
Jonathan, despite his spin, doing a great job. Currently 8th quickest in the top 10 in his first outing with us here in the Formula Regional Americas iRacing Invitational. Linus Lindqvist looping it as well, but getting back underway. Flynn Lazier, as we mentioned, been a front runner, finished second in our first round at Road Atlanta, finished 8th at COTA, finished 7th at VIR. One of our top-rated guest drivers here this weekend.
Some good liveries out here as well. With these new guest drivers and more people getting on board with iRacing, they're checking out trading paints, and I've seen some great paint jobs here this weekend, and especially from the new guys. Always loves to see some color here on track, especially a 128-degree track temperature.
Yow. That's going to eat into those tires for sure. And speaking of tires, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors for the series. As you can see in your upper right-hand corner, PitFit Training is sponsoring this particular race event. PitFit also stepping up to provide one of the season-ending prizes, a 90-day PitFit training regimen for the second-place winner, I believe, in our series for the entire season. Hankook Tires is our tire sponsor. Always great to have them along. And Hankook giving a full set of Hankook tires to the winner, the points winner at the end of the season. And Olumagato Watches will be giving a bespoke Olumagato watch to the third place finisher at the end of our season. Seibelt also sponsoring our Hard Charger Award. We've had three different winners of the Hard Charger Award so far, with AJ Allmendinger winning at the first round at Road Atlanta. Jordan Messig won it at COTA, and Logan Cuson took the honors at VIR. Jordan Messig leading the season. A big stumble down the front straightaway.
Well, if you're new to iRacing and you haven't noticed the damage model of the F3, now you have. The wheels come off.
They do.
I'm still not used to it.
Yeah. Indeed. The clock has expired as our qualifying session has concluded, and we'll get the grid set here for this big grid of cars. As we scroll down, we had 38 cars turn a time in this session, missing 3 cars off the bottom of our timing screen that have not yet turned a time. So although we had 46 on the entry list so far, 38 drivers have turned a time. In the points, the only drivers eligible to score points are the regular drivers. And now we've got our grid. Let's go ahead and run that for you. Our pole sitter is Dakota Dickerson with a 1:16.7. Alongside him will be guest driver Simon Sykes. Row 2 has Yes, last weekend's winner, Phil Dennis and Jacob Abel. Darius Trinka making his first start with us in the 37 car will start fifth alongside the Scandinavian driver Linus Lindquist. Blake Upton and Flynn Lazier on row number 4. Row 5 has the second round winner, Dario Cangalosi, along with Jonathan Scarallo making his first start with us. Quinlan Law and Zachary Rivard make up row number 6. In row 7, Victor Anderson and JP Southern. Andrew Dobby and Andrew Pinkerton in row 8. Row 9, Ben Waddell, who won the first race weekend, and Sam Bolukbasi in the number 17 position. Row 10 has Megan Jilks of iRacing fame and Nico Ronde, the veteran campaigner. Matias Solero Bell and Nelson Mason in row 11. Row 12, Marco Kasich and Benjamin Peterson. Moving on to Dominic Livernoy and Logan Cuson in row 13. Row 14, Kyle Connery and Bruno Carneiro, the Brazilian. Lance Fenderson, our paraplegic driver, and Joff Bassoon in the 29 in row 15. 16 is Parker Locke and Jackson Lee. 17, Hayden Bowlesby and Jose Blanco. Mitchell Egner and Dominic Cicero back in row 18. Row 19 has Jordan Messig and Ellis Spezia. And our final row, Hunter Yaney and Conrad Clark with Jose Cabrera in the 41st starting position. The lights are coming up. All 5 are on, and we're away.
It's a very sketchy start. We got a car up in the air already. There's a traffic jam on the front straight here at Barber. That's the 48 car. Jordan missing. Already getting collected.
Dakota Dickerson able to slot over in front of Simon Sykes and take over the lead as they go side by side down into the hairpin at turn 5. Dickerson with the inside line is going to hang on to that spot, and right behind him is Jacob Abel. There's Abel now up into second spot as he slots Simon Sykes back into third. Right on Sykes' rear wheel is Phil Dennis, who won just a week ago, down through the corkscrew as they make their way onto the uphill climb to the chicane. Very fast change of direction through this section of track.
Ooh, Sykes getting a little bit loose, coming out of flat out. As they enter the roller coaster, Sykes going to be hopping over the curb right in front of Dennis.
And that's we're riding on board with Darius Trinka, the Lithuanian driver, making his first start with us. Darius had a great qualifying performance, and he's right in the thick of it. But Phil Dennis looking very racy all over the back of Simon Sykes as we come across the line to complete the first racing lap.
It's Dickerson, Abel, Sykes, Dennis, Trinka, your top 5 here at Barber.
Blake Upton, Flynn Lazier, Linus Lundquist, Quinlan Law, and JP Southern round out your top 10. Closely packed racing here as we're only a minute and a half into this 30-minute timed event.
Dario Cangalosi has dropped down 2 spots from the start as JP Southern has jumped up 4 spots from where he started.
Exactly. So Dario makes his way around JP, just as you say that. In fact, there is that battle right now. JP in the black number 61, Dario in the orange number 23, and Dario's able to solidify that position. That's 11th and 12th, and right behind them is Jonathan Scarallo making his first start with us this weekend here at Barber Motorsports Park. There's Phil Dennis riding with him. There's Darius Trinka right behind him, and up ahead of Dennis is Simon Sykes.
So there's that start. Oh, that was Megan Gikes, 49. My dyslexia goes against me once again.
Megan Jilks, the W Series driver.
The wheel tap that sent her up in the air.
Yeah, you can see that. She got that car up on the air as she came into contact with, I didn't know who was in that turquoise car, but nonetheless, we go back to the front as Dakota Dickerson putting his stamp on this one early on, setting the fast lap of the race, had a 1:17.54 on his last circuit, and he's got almost a 2.5 second lead over Jacob Abel in that number 2 car. Simon Sykes right on Abel's rear wing, just about 3/4 of a second separating those two.
Speaking of on the rear wing, Flynn Lazier is trying to get past the rear wing of Blake Upton ahead of him as he was taking a good few looks around Charlotte's Web.
Flynn Lazier up into the chicane. That's Upton up in front of him, and just in front of him is Darius Trinka, as we've got a really tightly packed group, with Dickerson opening up about a second and some change over second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, all running nose to tail.
Oh!
And there's another. It looks like Cangliosi got into the back of someone.
That was Nelson Mason getting sent off.
And Dominic Cicero going around on his own. Dominic,
Ooh.
one of our Masters competitors, knocking the front corner off of that car. As we go back to our leader, Dakota Dickerson. If you've never been to Barber in person, this is a beautiful facility. Lots of vertical as we ride with last week's winner, Phil Dennis, down into the hairpin, turn number 5. Simon Sykes and Jacob Abel right in front of him, and then a little further off in the distance, the reigning Formula Regional America's champion, Dakota Dickerson. Down into the corkscrew they come. There's Jonathan Scarallo once again, back in 11th position, just outside the top 10, as he makes his way down the roller coaster and into the corkscrew. As they climb the hill up toward the chicane. Great camera angle from Jonathan Scarallo's nose. And he's got some company right behind him, is Ben Waddell, the first weekend's winner, right there in the hunt. As we ride with Jacob Abel, this great three-way battle for second, third, and fourth between Abel, Sykes, and Dennis, and then a little bit of a gap back to Trinka. A couple cars making their way into the pit lane with some damage. But Dickerson looking to run away and hide here in the early stages. But with these really high track temperatures, Austin, I think tire wear is going to be a factor for these drivers.
Definitely, especially on the NTM7, these tires, they will fall off, and there is a significant fall off. But in this 30-minute race, I'm guessing about at the end of 5 minutes, we'll start to see that fall off actually take place, for where it gets very hard. But this track temperature of these tires is going to be so precious at the start of the race to look after them, and for you to have a great run at the end. As look at this battle for third.
Sykes now into that spot. Dennis right behind him, and then Trinka right behind them, as Jacob Abel has been able to stretch away just a little bit. So we've got 2 series regulars in the top 2 positions, with guest drivers Sykes, Dennis, and Trinka making up third, fourth, and fifth. Dennis looking to set up Sykes to see if he can find a way around. But Simon Sykes keeping it looking strong with Georgia on his rear wing. Simon makes his home in Atlanta, the 2018 F2000 vice champion.
Dennis got very loose coming onto the front straight. Wheels all up in the grass right there, but he kept it pointed straight. Very sketchy moment, and Trinka saw that, and he's probably going to see a bit red.
Mitch Egner, our biggest mover so far out of West Kolowa, British Columbia, the 2017 F2000 Pacific champion. Up into 18th position right now is Mitch Egner.
Cruson taking a big slide. Kept it on the track, though.
Logan Cuson in that 99 car. A bit down in the order after that spin. Currently running in 19th position, up 6 from where he qualified. But Mitch Egner in that number 4 car, 18 positions gained so far. A couple drivers at 15. Parker Locke in the 9, and Jackson Lee making his first start with us out of Avon, Indiana, up 15 as well.
But so far, biggest mover is Mitchell Egner, up 18 spots as he sits in 18th.
Great battle between Zach Rivard, and Logan Cuson for 18th, 19th, and 20th. This 3-way battle just now making their way through the chicane. Heading down toward the final couple turns here and into the sweeping complex that leads them to the pit entrance, and then back onto the front straightaway. But Mitch Egner with the position. Oh, Rivard throws it down the inside. Now he's side by side with him, and they come together. Rivard up in the air, and he's going to collect the barrier. So Rivard trying an
Very.
outside pass, and that did not work out to his satisfaction. Getting a great replay. Thanks, Marco. You can just see the interlocked wheels, and he had nowhere to go. Yet another replay, as we can see, looking out the back.
And Dwight Schrute is not going to be happy because the Dunder Mifflin car is out.
Flynn Lazier, Quinlan Law, and JP Southern having a great battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th. JP stuffs it down to the inside of Quinlan Law as they're coming up toward turn 17.
Oh,
Still
this is
on
close.
the inside. It's a four-way battle. JP thinks better of it and falls back. Just in front of Lazier is Blake Upton in the 6th spot. There's Law in that green and white number 22 with JP Southern right behind him. Go ahead.
There's some connections to this race in baseball apparently in chat going on, as Dario Cangelosi has been compared to the Astros.
Okay. Are they banging a trash can somewhere?
I think it was I think it was from last race after Dakota Dickerson got sent by him. So
I gotcha.
That's the banging, I'm guessing.
Okay.
It is an orange car, so I can see the resemblance.
Following Phil Dennis, last weekend's winner, still in that 3rd spot, about a second behind Jacob Abel, who's broken clear of that battle. Simon Sykes giving him some stick from behind, trying to close up and take over that final step on the podium.
Oh, Kusan getting caught in Charlotte's Web right there. So tricky to get that break point right because it's a sharp downhill where your car needs to go into the brakes. And all these cars, fixed setup, high downforce, great racing with each other. As
Abel, Sykes, and Dennis still having this great battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Dennis and Sykes side by side as Sykes trying to get up into that 3rd position. Jacob Abel able to hang on to the lead as we stay with this 3-way battle. Trinka not far behind. Darius Trinka, the Lithuanian driver. Blake Upton in 6th behind him. As you can see Trinka in that two-tone paint job. There's Trinka's car right now as he gives chase to Simon Sykes.
cars starting to spread out here, give each other more room as we just passed the 10-minute mark.
So just over a third of the way through this 30-minute race. Looking a little deeper in the pack to see who our big movers are. And right at the moment, it appears to be still Mitch Egner up 14 places. But now Parker Locke and Jackson Lee are both up 15 spots. So they take over the top spot in the challenge for the Seatbelt Hard Charger Award for this weekend.
Yeah, Egner, he had a little bit of off track. I said he went into the pit lane, and he lost a few spots going from there. And oh, Simon is in the wall, coming out, going into the carousel.
Looks like he's
looking so good.
Looks like he gets away with no damage, right in front of Trinka, who is able to avoid him.
Oh, that is so close to the
Just
wall,
kissed the barrier with that left rear. We'll see if there's any damage. You're getting a replay of it as he got off track and the car got airborne.
Got airborne. He might have some floor damage from there.
Yeah, could well. Jacob Abel running in third spot. Just in front of him, Phil Dennis, who won a week ago. And they are some 2.25 seconds behind Dakota Dickerson, the points leader. But right now, Jacob Abel giving chase to Phil Dennis, staying right with him. About 0.6 of a second, all that separates those two.
One thing you should know, Phil Dennis just set the fast lap of the race, last lap of a 1:16.47, as Dakota Dickerson set a 1:16.798. Does Philippe do it again? No, he doesn't. 1:16.57. But that is 0.6 faster than Dickerson. Dennis is closing in.
Maybe he has looked after his tires. We ride along with Simon Sykes to see what damage, if any, he has had to that car. That's Matthias Solero Bell, the Colombian, just in front of him. Jonathan Scarallo a little further up the road. That blue car, I believe, is a lapped car. As we ride with Sykes. Dives down to the inside of Solero Bell. And Mateus gives him room. So Sykes up one spot into 11th position as he's in recovery mode after that off-track excursion.
Solero Bell, though, looking up the inside or just trying to dance on that gearbox as they're sending it into the drop-down chicane and as they head out the flat-out corner. So I'm getting a little bit confused on where I'm at. And, oh, that lap car getting in a little bit too close with these guys.
That's Mitch Egner. The lapped car, the 4 car, just being passed by this group of cars.
Pinkerton almost goes around.
The purple number 14 of Dobby at the tail end of this 4-car train. Andrew Dobby in the 93 car up 2 spots from where he qualified. As we ride with Andrew Pinkerton, currently running in 13th spot. That's the Colombian Solero Bell just in front of him, with Simon Sykes recovering from his off-track excursion just ahead of them.
Got a few requests to look at Ellis Spezia.
Ellis in that number 11 car, currently running in 30th position, up 7 from where he started, but he's kind of in a lonely spot right now as he's 19 seconds adrift of Jordan Messick. Ellis, one of the last cars on the lead lap. Kyle Connery, just behind him, is the last car on the lead lap. Spezia out of Hoboken, New Jersey, is an e-karting champion, 14 years old, doing a great job here. Returning to this battle with JP Southern. That's Quinlan Law just ahead of him and Flynn Lazier in front of Quinlan as they duke it out for 6th, 7th, and 8th position.
Ooh, Abel's off. Abel's off. And Abel's in the wall.
Nudges into the wall, and he's got some damage to that left front suspension. You can see that wheel bouncing around. He's
that wheel is off. That wheel is completely off. He's going to need to teleport into the pits and take that fast repair as Abel is out of the contention for the fight for the lead, almost exactly like we saw what happened to Simon Sykes, but it was unable to get the car stopped in time, and you see the wheel just automatically just off right there.
Tough break as he was running in 2nd spot at the time of that incident. So Jacob Abel falls outside of the top 20 as he is making his way to the pits, and once again just took a little too much curb in that corkscrew section, and the car got airborne, and he was a passenger from that point on.
The gap between Denise and Dickerson's fallen down to 1.3 seconds. Dickerson's being caught.
Absolutely. Dickerson's last lap was a 1:16.8, and Dennis also a 1:16.8. So Dakota Dickerson, again, a very measured driver. I'm guessing he's keeping an eye on that gap. I'm sure his spotters are letting him know.
They set exactly the same lap time last time.
Exactly. Dickerson a little slower, though. Dennis a 16.7. Dickerson a 17.5. May have had a little traffic that slowed him down. But as you can see, the graphic there below, as Dennis getting closer and closer. The gap is down to just over a second right now, 1.29 seconds. As we follow this battle, the lapped car of Mitch Egner, the 4 car there just behind this battle. But we stay with our leader, Dakota Dickerson. Egner out in front of Darius Trinka. You can see him in the deep background there. Trinka with Blake Upton just behind him. Flynn Lazier, Quinlan Law, Ben Waddell, the first weekend winner, JP Southern, Jonathan Scarallo on debut, and Simon Sykes, your top 10. And staying with our leader, Dakota Dickerson, able to maintain that gap right at just over 1 second.
It is still falling down to Phil.
Dickerson's best finish so far this year has been a 2nd at COTA. He did not have a good weekend on the first race weekend, finished in 10th position. Last weekend also in 5th spot, so still looking for his first win on the season. Right at the moment, he's in a position to notch it if he can maintain it. Hayden Bowlesby and Victor Anderson, the Swede, duking it out for 21st and 22nd. Bowlesby in the blue car. And they are just about to be lapped, as they are the last two cars on the lead lap, just about to be lapped by our leader.
It's within a second now.
We ride with Dakota, with Phil Dennis behind him by less than a second now. Dennis has it under a second. And Dickerson's going to have to pick and choose how he's going to work his way around these slower cars in front of him.
It's going to be even more difficult as they're scrapping for position. Speaking of scrapping, oh, Waddell goes off the track and flat out as he's following Law and Southern.
Waddell tried to stuff it in there and got side by side with Quinlan Law.
Oh, look at this move!
I don't know if Law saw him there.
Waddell was carved through both of them like a turkey. I think he's going to go for another move right here. Ben Waddell, not sweet moves, but we're going to go 3 wide down the front straight here at Barber. Ladies and gentlemen, this is beautiful racing.
Absolutely. And that's on the inside, and Law spins it at turn 1. I don't know if he got a tap from Waddell or not, but Quinlan Law loops it.
There was contact.
There's a couple spots. Law in recovery mode right now as the New Jersey driver falls back to 10th position. As he was in that 6th, 7th. Here we go. A great overhead shot. As Southern just cuts across the nose.
Early.
Yep, there was a little nudge there as Law came across in front of Ben Waddell and just tapped his rear wheel, and that put him into that spin.
And Philip Denise, you can see him. He's starting to close in on the gearbox of Dakota Dickerson. Let's ride on board with him as we have 10 minutes to go here at Barber, and the battle for the lead is hot as the track.
Philippe Dennis within half a second, and he spins it. He spins it, and that was on his own. He just carried too much speed through turn 17, and the rear end got away from him. Trinka has gone by, up into 2nd spot. Dennis recovers, though. It looks like he might have a little front wing damage. We'll have to see. But Dennis obviously can make it happen as we're watching as they come through turn 17, clips the apex nicely, and just a little wide on the outside. Got it into the grass, and that put him around.
This hot track providing much excitement with tire wear and the low grip on on the track because, that was just very unfortunate for Dennis. Still sitting in 3rd right now. I thought Lazier was going to take him, but he's still on the podium. And Dakota Dickerson has dodged a bullet.
Riding along with Jonathan Scarallo in the Group A Racing machine as he is in 7th spot. That's Ben Waddell, the Road Atlanta winner. Right in behind him, and behind Waddell is Simon Sykes, recovering from his spin and contact with the barrier. Sykes is back inside the top 10, currently running 9th. As we look at our Staybelt Hard Charger Award, it's Jackson Lee, the leader right now in the 52 car. He's running 13th, but he's up 18 spots from where he qualified. Scarallo, Waddell, Sykes closing quickly on the back of Ben Waddell. So Simon Sykes, one of the fastest cars on track. On that last lap, he was almost 3 seconds quicker than the cars in front of him.
Dennis does have some damage in that front left wing.
Yep, you can see it's knocked a little bit askew, and that's cost him some pace, as his last lap was a 1:18.8. Remember, his best lap, a 1:16.4. So he's 2 seconds slower than he was just a little bit ago.
Oh, Solero Bell, he's around.
Sykes able to get around Ben Waddell and move up into 8th. Now he sets his sight on Jonathan Scarallo. We get a replay of Solero Bell's spin. Once again, drops a wheel off to the outside and just about backs in front of the oncoming traffic. Scarallo with Sykes chasing him. And there's a lapped car in between the two of them, I believe, as we ride on board with Simon Sykes. Scarallo in that red and yellow car, 2 cars in front. And that's Hayden Bowlesby, who is a lap down.
Simon Sykes is sneaking his way back in there, trying to attack Scarallo as best as he can.
Waddell, though, putting the pressure on as we look at the lap times. Waddell's last lap was a 19.4. Sykes was a 16.9. Now he's headed for Jonathan Scarallo. Again, Sykes recovering from that contact with the barrier a couple laps ago, and he's done a great job getting back into contention here as he's got Scarallo in his gun sights.
I don't believe Simon actually hit the barrier because his times are, oh my goodness.
Andrew Dobby has looped it. Dobby goes around.
Oh, his back wheel's off. His wheel's off.
Yep, he's got a broken right rear. So he's going to have to make a call to the pits for some repairs.
That was him
got a little help.
17.
Yeah, he got a little help, I think, from the 17 car.
That was Marco.
Marco Kosick, excuse me.
That was a 3-car collision. There was a 3rd car involved in there as well.
Here's Sykes on Scarallo. This is the battle for 8th position. Scarallo guarding that inside line. Sykes up on the curbing.
As Philippe Dennis can't take the damage anymore, heads into the pit lane with 5 minutes to go. Your top 3, Dirksen, Trinka, Lazier.
JP Southern, the second of our series regulars. Sykes now tries an inside move in turn 1 on Scarallo and makes it happen. Sykes moves up a spot into 6th position, but Scarallo not giving away easily. He's going to stay right on his gearbox and try to take that spot back.
Beautiful move by Simon. But here comes Scarallo into Charlotte's Web. Looked up the inside, not going to set it in there.
Gets a good run off, however, as he's got good pace as they head down toward the corkscrew. Let's see. This is not a place where 2 cars could go too wide usually. Sykes able to hang on to that 6th position.
There's a replay of, just nowhere Jackson Lee can go from there. Had to drive it off track to avoid these two.
But still able to hang on to his hold on the potential Saybelt Hard Charger Award as Lee's car really gets up in the air. Up 21 positions from where he qualified.
I would say 21 inches off the ground as well.
Every bit, yeah, every bit. Back with Flynn Lazier now in that black number 7 car in 3rd position. JP Southern just about a second behind him. About a half a second, actually. Blake Upton not far behind him, as Blake is another 3/4 of a second back. Simon Sykes continues his charge toward the front as the 52 and the 31 go side by side. Kosick, Dennis, and Lee. As Dennis in 10th position after that quick stop to the pits for damage repair.
Dennis has got company in front and back of him as Lazier is being challenged by JP Southern. He wants to be on the podium. Southern trying to hold around the outsides. They're side by side into the roller coaster. JP Southern makes the move for 3rd place, but don't count out Lazier and Upton in this 3-car charge with 3 minutes to go.
Lazier, one of our guest drivers, sandwiched by 2 of our regulars with JP Southern and Blake Upton. They're riding along with Blake right now, and he's sizing up Lazier for a potential dive down into turn 1. Thinks better of it. Very different driving lines for JP Southern and Flynn Lazier as they work their way up the hill toward turn 4.
All these guys are struggling to find the grip on this very hot track. Upton looked around the outside, then switched back onto the inside, but not going to go for a move. Lazier just defended that position beautifully as he's still trying to get back at Southern. But Southern starting to pull away, half a second away from Upton and Lazier.
2 minutes to go as we get a great overhead shot of this battle for 4th position. Flynn Lazier in the 4th spot. Blake Upton and Simon Sykes. Blake Upton in that 19 car with Flynn Lazier just in front of him. JP Southern in front of him. Simon Sykes another 3 seconds up the road, recovering from his earlier damage. As we follow Flynn Lazier onto the front straightaway. There's Sykes in that red number 6. Darius Trinka with a great run. Qualified third in his first start with us. Currently running in second spot. He's about 10 seconds behind Dakota Dickerson, who is in cruise mode right now, with just coming up on 1 minute remaining in this race. Upton and Lazier continue to battle. Once again, Upton throws the dummy and then tries to get Lazier to take the fake, but he doesn't. So Southern, Lazier, and Upton, 1, 2, and 3 running in third, fourth, and fifth position. Into the final minute.
40 seconds to go. Dickerson, he's at roller coaster right now. We are going to have another lap after this. I was wrong last time, but I'm fairly sure we're going to have another lap.
Yeah, we should see the white flag this time by for our leader, Dakota Dickerson, the reigning Formula Regional Americas champion. As Flynn Lazier continues to do his best to keep Blake Upton behind him. Lap times on that last lap, Upton a 1:18.1, Lazier a 1:17.8. I think Upton's got a little more pace in hand if he can find a way around on this final lap.
As Laurel Bell's sideways in the drop-down chicane. He's been having a very hard time today. Some high points and then some low points. And then some, oh, that's a 41 he got into.
That's the lap car of Hayden Bowlesby as he got tangled up. So Dakota Dickerson on the final lap, we believe, with a comfortable 10-second lead.
And Lazier sends it.
Makes the pass on JP Southern.
In Charlotte's Web, Southern with that spotter, though. He's going to be trying some trickiness, trying to look around the outside.
Tough place to pass there in the roller coaster as they come through the corkscrew.
Definitely. And Southern has dropped back. He was playing it safe to first finish on the podium. He must first finish. And speaking of finishing right now, coming around the final corner, the Quad Squad or Penta Posse, it's going crazy as Dakota Dickerson is taking the win here at Barber.
Dakota takes his first win on the season in the FR America's iRacing Invitational. And coming home in second spot, Lithuanian driver Darius Trinka and Flynn Lazier able to hold off JP Southern and Blake Upton at the stripe. Lazier comes home on the podium. Southern in fourth spot. Upton right behind him. Simon Sykes should be the next driver across the line. But Sykes apparently with some problems on that final lap as he and Jonathan Scarallo. Is that Sykes' car off with some damage there at the runoff area for turn one? No, that was
these guys just got
yeah.
These guys are just having a demo derby after this race. They're just full setting it to turn one right now.
Dario Cangelosi down 5 positions from where he qualified. Not the race that he would have hoped for. He is our points leader coming into this round, but I think he may well relinquish that points lead to Dakota Dickerson, as Dickerson, lying third in the points coming into this fourth round, is going to be able to move up with this dominant win. Over 10 seconds margin of victory.
What a race. So close and then so chaotic. And we got a few storylines as well. Dakota Dickerson being caught by Philippe Dennis, who as he got onto the rear wing and gearbox of Dakota, we thought we were going to have a great battle. Gets onto the grass and crashes out. But first, let's bring you through our results.
Dakota Dickerson, your winner. Darius Trinka in second spot. Flynn Lazier comes home in third. JP Southern in fourth. Blake Upton right in his wheel tracks in the fifth spot. Simon Sykes a little bit further back in sixth. Jonathan Scarallo on debut this weekend in seventh. Ben Waddell, Phil Dennis after his unforced error in the closing stages, and Marco Kosick round out the top 10. Jackson Lee, Andrew Pickerton, Benjamin Peterson, Dario Cangelosi, Quinlan Law, Nico Ronde, Victor Anderson, and Bruno Carniero, your top 18, as we had a total of 15 cars on the lead lap. Mitch Egner making his first start with us in 19th, Zach Rivard in 20th, Hayden Bowlesby, Mateus Solero Bell, Dominic Livernois, Jordan Messig, Ella Spezia, Kyle Connery, Andrew Dobby, and Logan Cuson through 28th position. Parker Locke comes home in 29th, Megan Jilks in 30th position, Jacob Abel, Jose Blanco, Linus Lindquist, Josh Bethune, Conrad Clark, Jose Cabrera, Nelson Mason, and Lance Fenderson round out the field. Jem Bolubasi, who had a great run last weekend, ends up down in 39th position. Dominic Cicero and Hunter Yaney, the last two cars to be scored. Looking at our Seibelt hard charger right now, Jordan Messig. Jackson Lee is going to take those honors with 20 positions gained as he started down the order and came home in 11th position, just outside the top 10. As we're just waiting for our top three drivers to make their way into the interview room, and we'll have a chance to chat with Dakota, Darius, and Flynn Lazier, and perhaps a few others. Want to remind you that there is a Instagram chat after this race, as it sounds like Dakota Dickerson making his way to the microphone.
Hey, John.
Hey, champ, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Hey, pretty good race, buddy. It looked like you were able to run away and hide in the early stages, and then it looked like maybe the tires going away on you a little bit in the closing bit.
Yeah, I mean, I did some practice race runs with Ben earlier in the week, and we knew how important qualifying was, so tried to get some clean laps and managed to snag the pole, and that was basically the most important part of the race. Tried to keep my tires nice and cool, and then once I saw Phil go off track, it was just a matter of managing the pace, so just trying to run consistent times and manage it to Darius. So yeah, I mean, I think if Phil was up there, we might have had some more pace, but he certainly was coming at us strong.
Indeed. Well, hey, coming off your second place finish at COTA, it's nice to have one on the top step of the podium this time.
Yeah, for sure. It's nice coming back to Barber too, especially being the opening round last year for FR America. So it's fun being out here. 40 cars on this track is super busy too. So
Yeah, no
qualifying was
kidding.
a struggle, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of traffic there in the race, but I think the next round at Mosport should be a blast too.
Exactly. Looking forward to that one. Well, congratulations, Dakota. I think I'm not doing the math in my head just yet, but I think that's going to put you into the points lead at the end of this race.
Sweet. Yeah, it's good. Just got to stay consistent like the real championship. So keep putting in some work and try and get up to Phil's pace. I think he's the man to beat right now in terms of pace. So got some more work to do.
Indeed. Well, hey, great run this weekend, and we'll see you next Tuesday night from CTMP.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Dakota. Our second place finisher, Darius Trinka, if he's available, we'll get him on the interview line here as Darius coming to us in the interview. Darius, making your first start with us in the FR America's iRacing Invitational. Tremendous run for you as you qualified extraordinarily well, picked up 3 spots and able to come home in second spot. Well done.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for having me here and letting me, race with you guys. It's really good pleasure. It was clean racing. I knew coming into this race that qualifying was pretty much everything on this track. So qualifying was the key point, and was able to put a decent lap in, and then the race was just all about surviving and some luck to finish in second place.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. This is being your first trip with us. Your home is in Lithuania, but you're living in is it in New England here on this side of the pond?
Yes, correct. Yes, I'm from Lithuania. I live in Massachusetts. I wrap Formula 3 cars and for Momentum Motorsports, so that's I'm kind of
Awesome.
got involved with this. I do some little bit of racing myself, some SCCA club racing. So been around the scene for quite a bit. But yeah, it's like I said. Thank you very much for having me. To race with the guys at Race From.
We'll say hi to Phil Picard and all the guys up at Momentum.
Absolutely. Hi, Phil.
I'm sure he's listening. All right, Darius, thank you. Congratulations. A great finish on your first start with us. We hope to have you with us next weekend from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park.
Thank you very much.
Looking for our third place finisher, Flynn Lazier.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, Flynn?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, you're on the podium once again after second place finish at Atlanta, and then back up to third this weekend. You had a great battle all race long with JP and Blake. Simon Sykes was in the thick of it there for a while, but great pass on the last lap, man, to get around JP.
Yeah, thank you. It was a super fun race. I got to thank all the Spark guys and the last lap Motorsports guys that I work with on the simulator. They're helping me spot this time, which definitely helped me on the mental side. But yeah, it was a super fun race. We got past Phil there. It seemed like he had some front end damage, and then JP and Blake were closing up to me super quick. And I finally found out that my brake was sticking on my rig, so I had to start pulling it back a little bit. And then, yeah, I was had the opportunity to get past JP on the last lap. But yeah, super fun race, and thanks guys, appreciate it.
Okay, Flynn, great job. Great to see you on the box once again. And will we see you at Mosport next weekend?
I believe we will. See you there.
All right, awesome. Sounds great. Well, thank you. Great run, and congratulations on your third.
Appreciate it.
So with that, congratulations to Dakota Dickerson, the reigning Formula Regional Americas iRacing Invitational Championship. Excuse me, he is the reigning Formula Regional Americas champion, and racing in IMSA with Ligier this year. And great to have Dakota racing with us as an alumni and coming home in first spot here at this fourth race of the season in the inaugural Formula Regional Americas iRacing Invitational. Darius Trinka, Flynn Lazier, JP Southern, Blake Upton, rounding out the top five. Pretty fair race considering we had 41 cars on track. Austin, what do you think?
It was very fair, very fun to watch, and very exciting to watch the action throughout the field. It was a very crazy start of the race with about half the field, I would say, getting involved in an incident. There is so much stuff I could barely wrap it up. I know the article after this race is going to be fantastic because you can just watch this replay and still discover so many stuff coming on. Uh, very excited for Motorsport now. Can it be next week now?
It will be in 7 days. At least I hope so.
Wait.
In any event, our best thoughts go out to all of you listening. Thank you so much for being with us for round 4 of the FR America's iRacing Invitational Championship, brought to us by Han Cook, as well as PitFit Training, who sponsored this race, Olamagato Watches, and Sabo. And we'll be back with you 1 week from tonight at 7:10 in the Eastern Time Zone, as we'll be there from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, the track formerly known as Mosport. So on behalf of Marco Barbanera, Austin Knight, I'm John Phippen. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next Tuesday.